spewed him out because he was so rotten. And it gave the fish food poisoning, I think. And he spit him out. And this time Jonah heard from God, go to Nineveh. And he wasted no time in going to Nineveh. And if you read that little book of Jonah, just 4 chapters, but if you read that little book, he preaches hellfire and brimstone. He preaches judgment. He preaches the wrath of God. Not 1 ounce of grace. Not 1 ounce of being positive at all. He just preached judgment, 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 judgment. And the people repented. And there was a time of great revival. And you say, boy, Jonah must have been really happy about that because, after all, he preached this great revival, one of the greatest revivals in history, and 120,000 people repented at his preaching. That must have been wonderful. Well, if you look at chapter 4, guess what Jonah prays? Chapter 4, verse 3. He parks himself on the edge of town. He sees this great revival taking place, and he says, therefore now, O Lord, take, I beseech thee, my life for me, for it is better for me to die than to live. I'd call that depression. All 3 of these spiritual giants, Moses and Elijah and Jonah, great men. We know their names. We've read about them. We've heard about them in Sunday school. And yet every one of them prayed the same thing. Lord, kill me, strike me dead, take my life. I'm not worthy to live. I don't want to face another day. So if you've ever been depressed, let me just say this. You're in good company. I know it doesn't make it easier, but at the same time, just know you're not the only one who's ever been there. Some of God's choicest servants have been in the throes of depression. Now, psychologists tell us there are 4 types of depression. I've listed them on your outline. First of all, there's reactive depression. That's where something happens and you react to it and you're depressed because of it. And when you feel those feelings of depression and you're singing the blues, you can point to that event and say, that's what happened. That's why I'm depressed. That's what took place. I wrecked my car. Somebody ran over my animals. Whatever it may be, I am depressed because of, and you can pinpoint it exactly. That's called reactive depression. Endogenous is the next one, and that's spelled for you on the screens. Endogenous, that means from within. And some people are depressed because of something happening inside of them, usually a chemical imbalance. And many people experience depression when something like that goes awry or something internally just isn't right. And they experience endogenous depression. And then there's psychotic depression. That's intense. That's self-destructive. We used to call that a nervous breakdown. It is a major type of depression, and many people experience psychotic depression. And then there's neurotic depression, and neurotic depression basically involves high levels of anxiety. And these are 4 types, and many people experience one of these types, maybe more than one. It can be a mild case of just singing the blues, or it can be intense. It can be short-lived or long-term. But many people in our culture experience depression, and even God's servants, Moses and Elijah and Jonah, experienced depression. Here's the second thing I want you to notice. Not only the truth about their depression, but the Bible also tells us the timing of their depression. When you look at the stories of these 3 men in Scripture, Moses and Elijah and Jonah, you can see some telltale warning signs that they were on a collision course with depression. Pretty soon they're going to be singing the blues because of what was going on. Now, for example, what about Moses? What was going on when Moses said, Lord, just kill me. Just take my life. I'm over 80. Just take me home to heaven. I'm ready to die. What was going on? He was leading people. In fact, 2 million Jews is what the estimate is. Can you imagine a crowd that large? And you're responsible for leading them from point A to point B and providing all of their needs. Can you imagine what an awesome responsibility that would be? That was the load that was on Moses' shoulders at this particular time. And what were these people doing? Well, if you read the Old Testament, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, you'll find out that they were griping and they were complaining every step of the way. They didn't like what they had to eat. They got tired of manna. They just didn't like that. They tried all kinds of manna things, manna sandwiches, manna soup, manna cotti. They had all kinds of manna. But it just didn't satisfy them. I mean, they were frustrated with their diet. They missed the good old days back in Egypt. Man, they were making bricks and mortar down there, but they forgot about that. Isn't it amazing how time knocks the rough edges off our memories? And all they could remember was the great food that they had and the great buffets of vegetables that they enjoyed. And they were complaining about their diet. They didn't like Moses' leadership. They said, what qualifies you to be over us? You're no better than the rest of us. And they complained about his leadership. They even complained about his wife, because Moses had an interracial marriage, and they didn't like that. They were complaining about everything. Now, aren't you glad that we don't have those problems in churches anymore? No complaints. Nobody ever fusses about anything. They never say it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too loud, it's too soft. They never complain at all. Aren't you glad that we're way past that in our modern times? I love the story about the preacher. He had one guy in his church that was always complaining and griping about everything. And finally, one Sunday, he just stood in the pulpit. He said, Brother so-and-so, would you just stand up and give us a word of criticism? I want to tell you, there are people like that in our churches today. And it was the same in Moses' day. And the problem with Moses is found in Numbers 11:14. Jot that down. Numbers 11:14, just before he prayed to die, he said, I'm not able to bear all this people alone because it's too heavy for me. Have you ever been there and done that? I mean, Lord, I can't go on anymore. I can't juggle anything else in my schedule. I can't take any more responsibility. I can't face any more problems. Lord, I just can't face it any longer. I can't bear all these people and all these problems. Do you know what Moses was trying to do? He was trying to do too much. He was trying to get these people to their destination. He was trying to make sure all their needs were met. He was trying to keep them fed and pampered and happy. He was trying to please all those people, 2 million of them. I've got a secret for you. If there had been only 2 people, he would have never succeeded at that, making them all happy. Jesus Christ was the perfect person, perfect Son of God, perfect man, God with us, Emmanuel. We know that he was perfect. Did he please everybody? No. As a matter of fact, they nailed him to a tree because he didn't please everybody. So just get over it. You cannot please everybody. One of the hardest lessons I had to learn as a pastor was that I can't please everybody. And I'm one of those people, I want to do that. And when I first started pastoring and somebody would say, I'm not pleased with you, I came unglued. And I thought, oh man, I've committed the unpardonable sin. And then I realized even Jesus couldn't please everybody. Now I want to do my best. I don't want to intentionally go around and make you angry and upset. But at the same time, folks, mark it down. I can't please all of you. And Moses couldn't please all those people. He was overwhelmed. In fact, there's a good Greek word for that. Moses was pooped. He was just pooped. That's the only thing you can say about it. And there wasn't a lot of encouragement for him out there. Now, some of you are pooped today. Some of you are working overtime. You're working more hours for less money right now because of our economy. I understand that. And that can be discouraging. Some of you are working harder than you've ever worked, and it's not that you're not working, but it's hard to stretch those dollars and make the ends meet because of the climbing, escalating prices, and that's frustrating. And some of you are discouraged. Some of you are out of work. You've been out of work for a while. It's hard to find a job. I understand that, and you're struggling with all these issues. Should I go to another job fair? Should I invest money in more resumes and brighter, more colorful pictures of myself? Should I do this? Should I do that? All these issues are raging. And I want to tell you, we live in a time that is ripe for major depression, even among the people of God. Moses was pooped, and some of you are as well. Now, what about Elijah? He had just come off that great spiritual mountaintop victory. I mean, literally at Mount Carmel. He had come off that great victory, and the adrenaline was flowing. The goosebumps were still there. But in less than one chapter, from chapter 18 of 1 Kings to chapter 19, he's under the juniper tree, and he says, God, just kill me. Just take my life now. Now, it's amazing that he just come off that mountaintop experience, and he hit the wall. He hit the wall.